Hello everybody, happy Friday. Danny Shay here on the beautiful Central Coast. It's still cloudy, Central Coast of California. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm living in, I don't know, Seattle? I think Seattle has a lot of clouds, I think. Anyway, it's like, can we get some sunshine please? Kind of like our political landscape. Can we get some sunshine, please? So Friday news cap, a little bit of rambling on last week's news. So it's been kind of fun that we've had some breaks in the Cohen cycle, whatever that is, and it just seems, I was talking to Linda about this on Monday. It just seems like it's such a circus atmosphere, and it's just so serious. I mean, it's so crazy. And any news channel that you look at, it's like, well, let me analyze that word. Remember when Clinton said, well, it depends on the meaning of the word "the" is. I'm like, oh my gosh, are we really there? And I guess we are. But before we get there, let's throw a couple of energy cards and see what the true meaning of what we should be focusing on is. And that depends on the definition of is. All right, so I am going to be using, what deck am I using? Beyond Lemuria. It's my girly deck. So I saw this with Dr. Gale when I was in Shasta, and I went, that is one girly deck, Dr. Gale. And I go, I don't think I like it. I love it. This is one higher vibe deck. So let's see what the girly deck has to say. Am I going to get in trouble for this? Maybe. Anyway, no edits on today's video. Uh-oh. So, what does Beyond Lemuria have to say about how to stay in this higher vibe? And when I say that girly deck, it's more of this divine feminine that is going to be speaking to us today. As we move away from the patriarchal society, as we get into a more compassionate, what does the Beyond Lemuria have to say? Not much. It's just talking about the infinite. So I can go into the book and read that and get a whole bunch more information from it. But when I look at this card, just as it is, and when I think about what I was talking about before, the news cycle of every little bit being scrutinized. What does the mean? What is? The infinite is made up of all those little pieces, but it's so much bigger. And those little teeny pieces are just part of something so huge. And when I say that and when I think about that, I imagine I had an image of a whale in an ocean, and it is I forgot the name of the whale, the gentle whale, the whale shark, is one of the largest sharks, and it eats microscopic krill, whatever. I don't have the right terminology, but it opens its mouth and it slowly swims and it filters the water. It filters thes and ises and she's and he's, and it cleans them, focuses, cleans them, and it puts it into probably a better package, an infinite package of whale. Certainly, if we look into another deck about and pull whale cards, wow, we get a whole bunch of stuff, whole bunch of good information. The next card I got is She of the Lotus. I'm talking about the Divine Feminine. And for me, this card represents the Divine Feminine taking stagnant water and creating beauty in it. And then the last card that we get is the Sacral Chakra, and this is the core of creation. So when we are focused on the little, we need to put it in with everything else. We need to put it in with the infinite. We need to put it in to the soup and allow the She of the Lotus, the Divine Feminine, and maybe it was a female whale shark that was gobbling all that up, and not really gobbling, just letting it pass through its filter system to be part of the core of creation. Yes, 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 yes. So 7 minutes in, we are now going to go to politics. So for those of you who are leaving, peace and love. And for those of you who are staying, here's what we got in store. What time is it? 7:30. Okay. So, of course, the big news is Cohen. We're going to look at that. We're going to see if the jury is believing Cohen, or if, what's his name, Todd Blanche, he created enough confusion. He was jumping all over in his cross, and people keep saying that he's an experienced lawyer, but a prosecutor, not a defense lawyer. So was this a planned thing, him jumping all around? And did it create some confusion? Is there one jury that he got to, one jurist who he got to say, I don't know, there may be doubt. I'm going to look at, men in red ties. Oh, we'll look at that later. France, New Caledonia, the Slovakian Prime Minister had an assassination attempt against him. And there's some news that came out about our Supreme Court justices. So we're going to look at that again. Alito flying the flag upside down. Some people go, oh man, that's a Trump flag. I am so sick of the flag being referenced to just Trump, because I like the American flag. We got a lot of issues. We got a lot of problems. We did a lot of screwy stuff, but we can fix it if we choose to, if our court systems will allow us to, and stay clean and supreme, whatever that means. So I'm going to take a look at that. And again, we'll look at Cannon, speedy trial. I put something up on my community page with Eileen Cannon, and I got this from Ann Ortelli, and she got it from Glenn Kirshner, who was talking about how we can petition the court of Florida to say, hey, get us a speedy trial on this. You look at Sam Menendez case that was in trial right now. He's a Democrat that is accused of bribery, and he's blaming his wife and yada, yada, yada. Yada. I don't even know how to say that. Yada, yada, yada. Yada, yada. Anyway. That's going to trial. But yet, Trump stuff, years and years. Come on now. So if you go to my community page, you could see that on there. Or look at Glenn Kirshner or the end of Ann Ortelli's video. Her whole video is good, but anyway. And just write a letter. Hey, we deserve to have a speedy trial. That's our right. It's not only the defendant's right, it's our right. Rant. Ooh, did I say that too loud? Okay, let's take a look at the first one. Cohen. So, people are talking about, and especially the Republicans, and I hear this on some Democratic channels too, that Cohen got caught up in a lie. And the lie that he got caught up in, and it's like crazy because he's a liar. He admits that he lied. So anyway, the lie that he got caught up in is about a 1:37 phone call that he made to Trump. And it appears that the channel that he had, and this is getting really confusing, is that he had to go through his bodyguard. And maybe it was he went to his bodyguard to say, hey, I got this person, I got this person, hang on, I got to turn this off. Thank you. No edits, sorry. But I can hit pause. Okay, so it's kind of convoluted. Cohen called Trump's bodyguard to talk about some 14-year-old that was harassing him or something. It's like, it's craziness. But Cohen says, I called Trump to say, it's done. I fixed, I managed this Stormy Daniels payoff. Done. So if I tell you it's done, how long did that take? Do you think Trump is going to want to listen to anything else? Hey, boss, I got it taken care of. Great, thanks, see ya, bye, click. So I'm not so sure. The question is, did anybody buy it in the jury? And here is the actual question. Will the jury trust Cohen's testimony? To me, I'm like what I read, because that's all we get. We can't hear. What I read, I go, I believe it. Okay, that happened how many years ago? Yeah, so he's got to rely on written notes. And Blanche was trying to say, you lied. And I'm thinking, he was like reportedly yelling and screaming. So I'm thinking, I don't know, when people yell and scream at me, I pretty much tune them out. Pretty much. Except my wife. I got to listen to her. What? I'm telling her I'm going deaf. I'm sorry, honey, I couldn't hear you. And that's bringing up an old John Prine song. Now I got to remember the title. I can't remember the name of the title, but it was a song about a man who developed an ability to travel in his mind when he wanted to, just go into a different place. Especially when his wife was going on a little too long about something he didn't do or did do. I'm going to get in such trouble. Such trouble. Let's look at this Cohen thing. Let's get away from me. Let's look at Cohen. Let's look at Cohen. Is there a jurist that is holding out, that is believing that Cohen is not telling the truth, that he really didn't do this fixing for Trump. To me, it's just like it goes back to the beginning of the reading with one little bit. Look at the big picture. So is there one jurist that's looking at this speck of sand in Michael Cohen's testimony? Ooh, Queen of Pentacles, the heavy burden, Queen of Cups. Okay, one jury is holding out. I think so. All right, so I'm going to drop this down and then you can see where I'm going with this. Because let's move that out of the way. Because that is, So we have the Queen of Pentacles bringing forth a lot of abundance, and we have the burden. It feels like, and this is the burden of the prosecution to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that their case is solid. We have the King of Cups at the bottom. This is my Joe Biden card. We have the Greedy Merchant, the Wish card. In the past, as it relates to this, and we have the High Priestess up above. So big cards next to the King of Wands, which is in the final outcome. So there's some kind of secrecy, there's some kind of intuition, but there is some higher authority bringing out correct information. But the potential near future for this one jurist is the Moon card. There's a little doubt. Something's creeping up out of the water. It's not like super clear. It's not illuminated by the sun. It's illuminated by the moon. So it's a little unclear. There's a little something that's not being shared yet. The internal position, there is a celebration. When I pulled this, I go, oh, we're done, because it's almost wrapping up. Yay, we're done. Can you believe 6 weeks has almost passed? In the external position, this is a scary one. The Lover's card, and the question was, is there one jurist, or maybe more, that's holding out and believing this delusion that was created by the defense attorney? At the final outcome is that the higher information that comes out is going to rule the day. However, the clarification on this is this suspension, the Hanged Man, and then something coming fast. So my question with this Hanged Man, is it suspension that's going to come fast? Or is he, that one jurist, going to look at things from a different point of view other than confusion, and come back with a fast verdict? Let's take a look at this Hanged Man. I want to use a different deck. I'm going to use Libby's deck, her intuitive deck. All right, Hanged Man. What is the information you want to share with us on this Hanged Man image? Why am I drawn to the illumination behind his head? It's a different illumination than the moon. The moon is cold. What is going on with the illumination? Give me some 3 cards clarity on this Hanged Man. Is it suspension, or is it a different point of view than he had walking in? Small, insignificant. Sad. Okay, keep going because I need some help. Health. Hat. Oh my gosh. Okay. Here, and at the base of the deck, illumination. And again, this is a different illumination than the sun card, than the moon card, than what's behind the red, behind the Hanged Man card. This is a red illumination. And isn't the sacral chakra red? Isn't that what we got first? Red, health. So what I'm getting with this is he's not happy that he's whoever this jurist is, may be leaning towards Trump, and he's not finding what's going on happy. Or maybe he is one of the ones who is sad for the state of our country and the health of our country. But he's going to do the right thing. Excuse me. And this is fate. This is destiny. This is karma. So I'm getting, and I read on the jurist before where they, I felt that one of the jurors was going to either be found out that he was in touch with Trump guys or something, and they would have to leave. This one, I'm not getting that so much, this reading, but I'm getting that he's probably leaning towards that this is, may not have enough evidence, and then he turns on it and he goes, yeah, I'm focusing on the little thing, and we're going to focus on the big picture. And when you look at the big picture, it's not about whether Michael Cohen lied or not, right? Or couldn't remember the exact details of a 1 and 37-second phone call that happened how many years ago? I can't remember what I had for breakfast. No, I can't remember. So, all right, let's move on. Let's move on. What do we got going? Men in red ties. So I brought my tie because I want to be in the club. Not so much in that club, but so I brought my tie. This is the tie that I used to wear for work. That was me right there. See me? I'm a little scuba diver swimming in the fishies. And so I was in one of my past lives, past time streams, I was a business coach trainer. Can you believe it? And the first day I showed up for work, I had this tie on. And they're going, where's the white button-down shirt and where is the solid color tie? I'm like, didn't you know who you were hiring? Funny. All those knuckleheads. I would be embarrassed to have the same color tie, the same white shirt, I would just be embarrassed about that. Well, but they have no shame. So there it is. And Lauren Boebert. Oh, I will not be gagged. Clearly. My mind went into Beetlejuice, and so sorry. All right. Let's just do a quick 6-card spread. What's going on? I mean, any pushback on these men in red ties? Not men in black, but men in red ties. Men in red ties. It's like their little uniform. It's creepy as hell. Yeah, so? I mean, these cards are going, yeah, so? Well, this was a scary card to pull right off the bat. Star of Hope, balance. You know, and that's what they keep talking about. We're trying to bring balance. Yeah, it's just an S show, right? And it's being crossed by the heartbreak. So they come out saying, oh, we're doing great things. No, they're destroying things. Things are going to come out really fast, and it's just a suspension moment. It's not a big reveal or them looking at things upside down at a different point of view, which they are. They're looking at it from a different point of view. Why? Only to strew confusion. I'm going to read this a different way. And then you have the final outcome is Joe Biden, King of Cups. This is not about Joe Biden. They say it is. It's not about Joe Biden. They're just sowing confusion. Now, here's the thing that I was going to say, especially with this card, is that they're picking the wrong cup. So if they pick the right cup, it's the Joe Biden cup. It's the democracy cup. And one of the last things that I want to read on is, I better hurry up. The Democrats are becoming America's cheerleaders. Maybe I'll read on it right now. With infrastructure bill, with the CHIPS Act, with bringing manufacturing back to the U.S. And what I want to hear is that messaging getting out? Because the Republicans are just sowing confusion and looking at things upside down. So let's just go into that because we got that. But before I do, what is, and I'm going to stick with the same deck, what is this fast card, this Eight of Wands, information coming fast about the men in red ties? The men in red ties, what is the information that's coming out? What is the information that's coming out that they are marinating in? Moving on to calmer waters. Well, I'm not really sure. We have moving on to calmer waters. We have a young energy promoting a new project or something. And then we've got the retreat card, the sickness card. Well, I mean, when you look at the men in red ties, to me, they're sick. They're sycophants. Is that what it was saying? Yikes. But when I look at that not death card, the Four Swords card, and I look at the Republican Party with these mouths, the Speaker of the House going out there and saying that our justice, that our justice system is sick. They're stabbing us in the heart. Now, absolutely, there's two systems of justice in America. Absolutely. One for the white rich guy, one for the poor. I get it. Trump is weaponizing that to his benefit. And I just don't get some of these guys. Anyway, okay, let's move on because I'm sick of them. Let's go. I'm going to go back to the Supreme Court, but I'm going to go overseas. New Caledonia, violent protests over voting reforms. And New Caledonia is a territory of France, and France came up with a new voting reform that critics say weakens a 1998 accord limiting voting rights to the indigenous, I'm going to mispronounce this, Kanak people, who make up 40% of the current population. So I don't know much about it. The little I read, I was going, I think I got a handle on it. I probably don't. So I'm just going to read a 411 on New Caledonia. I love the word, New Caledonia. And then I think of the song, Caledonia. I know it's different. What makes your big head so hot? Ah. All right, sorry. Sorry, I got carried away. All right. 411, New Caledonia. Is it going to stay with France or is it going to become independent? New Caledonia. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Just 3 cards. They're little baby cards. Fool, going on a new journey. The Tower. Yikes. And when I look at this Tower, many, many times, as when I look at the Death card, it's about new beginnings. This Tower, something happens pretty quick that shakes it to its foundation and lets you rebuild, and it's karmic. So, Macron, if you are listening, that was my French accent, in case you didn't know, with a hillbilly overlay on it. Yeah. I remember a friend of mine back in Missouri, he came over and he had, like, when I go back to Missouri, I immediately get my accent back. Immediately. And especially when this guy came around. And he came around and he was saying something, and he said, merci beaucoup. And the way he said it was, mercy buckets. And he was being totally serious. Mercy buckets. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I started going, mercy buckets. Aren't you glad you guys tuned in? All right. Slovakian Prime Minister, his name is Fico. Wonder what his score is. Assassination attempt on him. Officials are calling it politically motivated. He's a pro-Russian guy who promised to reduce aid to Ukraine. Pals with Viktor Orban. His party is leaning left. So I'm wondering, in that part of the world, is left our left or is left there our right? Details. But anyway, I want to know if there are going to be more of those attempts throughout the world. 3 cards. And then I'm going to look into the U.S. More political attempts like that for entertainment purposes only in the world. Are we going to see more of that in the world? Because our divide is so big and it's so inflammatory. And you know who started it? Men in red ties. Overseas, judgment, the Hierophant. Yikes. So I'm just going to pick 3. I got to make sense of these. We talked about more in the world. Yes. Judgment card is a yes. To me, it's a release card. It is being held to a account, to a higher standard. And here we have the Hierophant being held to a higher standard. So when I pulled these cards, I said, yes, but the government is going to be on top of it and stop the violence. Let's look at the U.S. Same question. Different 3 cards, I hope, for the U.S. Is all this rhetoric from the red tie group? Matt Gaetz, stand back, we are standing back and standing by, Mr. President. He is, I would like to see him in arrest. You know, forget Mike. Did you all hear about Mike Tyson is going to be boxing this guy, Jake guy? I looked at Jake, he's like, holy crap. That guy, Mike, what are you doing? Iron Mike, you're old. You're like 60, 59, 60. Like, what the hell? Let's put one of the red tie guys in with Mike Tyson instead. Let's make it a fair fight. Wouldn't that be fun? I'd pay it. I'd pay to see that. And I don't think Mike Tyson would be hurt. This other guy, yikes, it's scary. I think, speaking sports now, I think that, is it Florida or Texas that sanctioned this fight? They should be held accountable. If people die in the ring, I mean, it's brutal. It's brutal. I don't know. That's a whole nother subject. All right, U.S. Is the red tie rhetoric going to increase those types of political violence? The burden. Moving on. No is what I'm getting. We have the burden, but we have moving on from the burden, and we have a celebration. So if this chariot movement is, it feels like when I look at the chariot, who gets to ride? Who gets to drive the chariot? Well, not me, right? Well, I get to drive my own chariot, but in the arena, in the tarot arena, it takes a lot of strength back and forth. There is white and black, 2 different points of view, but there is somebody who is managing these 2 diverse oppositions and keeping them on the straight path, and it's a celebration. So who's in charge of this? It's Joe Biden's, I don't want to say administration, but his appointees. It's the Merrick Garlands. It's the justice system that was put in place by, which I think should change. I mean, Judge Cannon, come on. Come on now. All right, let's get back into, so I'm saying no. I'm saying no. Is there going to be some things that pop up? I can see that, yeah, but nothing big. Fingers crossed. Keep praying, keep sending that light out there. All right, let's go back to our court system since we're talking about that. Alito. I don't know why this came out right now. Both Alito and Thomas were in the news. Thomas twice. Alito about the upside down flag in 2020. And they go, oh, it's the Trump flag. It's the Trump symbol. You know, and when we when Trump was doing all this, and they were all flying their American flags, and I would look at the American flag and I go, ugh, Trump. And I'm like, no, it should be, yay, America. And not that we are the best and that we are the only light and we are the only whatever, but we were at least a beacon of hope for a lot of people. We had a lot of problems. We can solve them if we work within this system, my belief, instead of tearing it down and starting all over again. We have a good basis to build on. But so when I see this American flag and I go, oh, I don't want to be associated with that. That was so wrong of me, right? But we all can understand why. And you go back to look at the swastika. That was not what we think of because of Hitler. It's just crazy. It was a sign of hope and peace and love and unity. Anyway, so the American flag with Trump. I was like, ugh. And then on J6, you would have the upside down flag with Trump. And so they said, oh, if you have an upside down flag, it's a Trump symbol. Well, let me go back to maritime law. If you flew your flag upside down, it said you needed help. It was an international sign of help. So sometimes you didn't have light signals, or you didn't have international flags that you would normally on a vessel. So you would have your flag of origin, port of origin, and if you had that upside down, that was a sign that if somebody saw it, come on over, give me some help, please. So I just think Alito was saying, help me get out of this Supreme Court, because help me get out of my own way. But he kept it up there, and he knew what was going on. So he was in the news. Thomas was in the news because Thomas sided with the Consumer Protection Act. What? That was a big deal. So now we are still being protected by, I think it's called SIPA. Yay. Now, do they go a little too far? Probably. Do we need to fix and tweak some things? Probably. But to throw the baby out with the bathwater? No, 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 no. Okay. Dang, did I say I'm rambling today? Yee-haw! All right. And then Thomas again was in the news about his RV. His $200 and something thousand RV that was given to him in end of 98 or something. And someone's asking, hey, did you repay that? And he's not answering. So, will the Supreme Court be held to a supreme standard in the next administration? Are they going to fix this? And then we're going to look at Eileen Cannon, and then I'm done. Then stick a fork in me. I'm done. All right, Eileen Cannon. Not Eileen Cannon. Supreme Court. Will they be, I read on this a lot, will they be held to a supreme standard in the next administration? Linda and I touched on this last reading. Okay. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to keep going with this because You may not believe what I say that comes out of my mouth, but please believe what I have written up there. You better believe what comes out of my mouth. All right, what we have. Cards don't lie. We have the Two of Cups coming together. We have the Eight of Pentacles, diligent, hard-working Supreme Court. We have new information coming from an unexpected source. It's a little calming, it's a little turbulent, it's a little bit of both. We have this High Priestess, again, giving this energy, this information, and a lot of it is secretive. Really? And whatever those secrets are coming to full illumination in the Sun card. And what is that going to do? It's all about, cards don't lie. It's all about justice. When I pulled this too, intuitively I go, ooh, there's a medical issue coming up that is coming up soon, because that was the first card. So we've got, is this Sheldon Whitehouse working really, 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 really hard? Oh, and I was, squirrel moment, I was listening to some talking heads, and I was listening to Jamie Raskin talk about, he was talking, what was it about? It was the Pledge of Allegiance. And I have a little family history with the Pledge of Allegiance. The way it's said, way history. But I think he was talking about the Pledge of Allegiance in that some guy was saying, hey, you know, this is our country. It was some guy from up in, a red tie guy, even though he might have had a different color tie, but a red tie guy going up there and spouting off about family value. Oh my God, the Kansas City Chiefs kicker. That was a kick in the pants. He gave a commencement speech on how women need to know their place in the home. Oh my God. That's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. What a knucklehead. Anyway, and Jamie Raskin comes up and says, well, I want to thank my esteemed colleague. He's so polite. And then he went into the history of the document. He went into how it was written, when it was written. It was not what the esteemed guy was saying, just boom, 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 boom. Jamie Raskin, off the top of his head. And I am, at that moment in time, so thankful that Jamie Raskin, Sheldon Whitehouse, Katie Porter, AOC, there's more, but Hakeem Jeffries, that we have those minds. So happy. So happy. All right. So Sheldon Whitehouse, who is this guy that is working very diligently to bring forth some information that's going to kind of surprise something that was hidden in the past, bring it to full illumination? Sheldon Whitehouse, Jamie Raskin, and it's all about justice, bringing balance to the courts. Speaking of balance to the courts, Eileen Cannon. So for those of you who are still with me, thank you so much. I appreciate it. In my community page, I put a thing up that I heard from Ann Ortelli and Ortel. I can't pronounce her name. I apologize. And she got it from Glenn Kirshner. And it's all about the slow walking of the documents case down in Mar-a-Lago. And the defendant, and I've read this in Joyce Vance too, man, just dropping names like they're falling out of the sky. But they're smarter than me, and I just say mercy buckets for you all that are smarter than me that give me this information. And I got to tell you, Some of my colleagues in Missouri are brilliant. So I don't mean to make light of that. I make light of everything. So my mom came from Missouri. So she's a smart woman. Anyway. You can go on my community page and you can see, or you can go to Glenn Kushner, you can go to the end of Ann Ortelli and see how to write a letter to say, hey, we deserve a speedy trial. What is she doing? She's inexperienced. She's a Trump appointee. I think her big first case or something. There needs to be adjustments in the rules about that. So, Eileen Cannon, 411. I keep seeing her leave. Libby did a great reading on her. I was watching a little bit of Sheila. Again, I'm dropping big names, you know. It's who I am. Anyway, Sheila was doing a live today, and she read on Cannon towards the end, and I had to turn it off because I said, well, I'm going to read on her too. So, Eileen Cannon. So I've always gotten her leaving quickly. And I think it's this year. Eileen Cannon. Let's just do a 411 on her and her superiors who have control over what happens. Because I think they still have, like, you can't do this, like the 11th Circuit of Appeals or something, whatever circuit. Is Eileen Cannon being told by the higher-ups, by the people who count, who can make something happen? Are they saying, move it along? Or are they getting ready to say, you need to go? I got the Judgment card in the potential near future. She's all wrapped up in something. All right. Oh, I got the Heart of Work card on the internal position. Something's going to happen. I should have shuffled better. The last card. It's a clarifier, though. Slow moving night. All right, let's see what I got. I'm going to drop it down. Okay, so what I got is I got the Knight of Swords. This is that young energy. It's a little impetuous. It's a little just charging into the wind. Let's go. Let's do this thing. That's not her. This is her. This is an easy case that Jack Smith is going, let's go. Easy peasy. You know, other people that have been charged with this crime, and it's a crime of his own making, the red ties, the big red ties making. Because he could have just turned this stuff over, but he fought him, and he still hasn't turned over all the documents. And so this is the restricted card. To me, this is like a jail card, but this is like Eileen Cannon tying things up, keeping things from moving forward. At the base of the reading is the Star of Hope. Oh, please, hope. In the past, as it relates, is the balance, is the juggling of two things. And when I look at Cannon, I go, she is juggling her fealty, is that the right word? Loyalty to Trump, and to justice. Unfortunately, justice is low and Trump is high. And then you have the Knight of Cups. This is, so this is somebody that is about ready to cross a river. It's the knight in shining armor. Is it the false knight? I think it is. I think it's this false Knight of Swords coming at you. I'm coming at you. We're going to go, we're going to get, we're going to do whatever we need to do to make sure just happens. And you're not really in there. Although she is right next to justice. In the potential near future, we have the Judgment card. Are people behind the scenes gonna tell her to get on the stick or remove her or whatever? Internal position, behind the scenes, working really hard. They're going to illuminate some of her secrets and bring about true justice. You have the Queen of Wands bringing forth new information, mature information, solid information. And again, we have the Knight of Pentacles, slow-moving knight. So I don't see her like leaving quickly like I want to. I'm going to pull some clarifiers on that. We have the Page of Pentacles bringing forth a new idea, a new project, maybe a new judge, new sword of truth. The Empress, this is Russian money, or is it giving birth to a new judge? Along with the King of Cups, and full on control to deal with the devil and the burden. Okay, so yeah, I see them really, really working hard at it. Let's get a little clarification on what this Knight of Pentacles energy, this slow-moving Knight of Pentacles, and it's the clarification of the Justice card. So, as he is moving forward with some calming energy, if he is truly the Knight in shining armor, moving forward to justice with new, this could be a new legal female coming in to take her place. What is the slow Knight of Pentacles? Talk to us about these three cards. The Justice, the Queen, the Knight of Pentacles. Bring it down. Let us see what we got going. Loss, okay. So is that Eileen Cannon? Go. Well, these cards are broken. Go, stop. Restriction. And that's the Nine of Wands, Nine of Swords that I got in convoluted confusion. Libby, your cards are broken. Okay. Well, this hurts my head to even think about it. So what I'm going to leave it with is, if there's a lot of confusion, if you say, yes, she's going, oh, then she's staying in, and then she's staying in, and then there's jail time restriction, and then there's loss, write a letter. Put it out there. Make your voice heard. We get enough of it, things may change. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Stay in light. Peace and love.